I haven't drawn a car in so long, and the Beetle is not a traditional shape at all, so I chose a very hard car to draw to get back in the swing of things. But the Beetle's one of the simplest cars. Yeah, it's one of the simplest mechanically, but it's not 3 boxes. It's a million curves. It's supposed to take me 2 seconds. Do I have any viewers right now? Am I public? I don't care. I got a fan in the chat. Yeah, I finally returned to YouTube. I've been busy with work, busy with commissions, but I finally finished all the commissions I've had to do, so I'm actually drawing for fun. Which I forgot how to do. So what I want to do, I want to make this into a Pixar's Cars character. It's a Volkswagen Beetle, iconic, and Beetles have been featured in all 3 Cars movies. So it's been done, but I just want to see how well I can do it from memory. Yeah, it turns out I do draw cars. Let's see, how should I do the mouth? In Cars, when they have done the Beetle, they've done the actual Beetle, of course. The hood ends right on top of, if not behind, the bumper. But for Cars, they just moved the bumper way down here and the hood line way up here to create room for whatever mouth shapes they want. But what I want is a Doc Hudson kind of mouth, where the bottom bumper sort of is the bottom lip. And this way, I could play with the design of the car better than what we've got here. So should I draw the bumper first or the mouth first? I'll keep the mouth. I've done this in so long. Let's try to conform the Beetle bumper around that. It's thicker than that. Yeah, it should be thicker still. It should be dummy thick. Here we go. That's a good looking mouth. Now what I want to start doing is, this is one of my favorite websites. It's called Curbside Classic, and it's just a bunch of car nerds writing about old, odd cars they see parked on the streets, and then writing an entire article about their history. So I want to take the cars they post onto Curbside Classic and try to draw at least one every day, because I haven't drawn cars in a long time. Now what's tricky about this Beetle is it's the US export model, which had this, what Volkswagen fans call the towel rack on the bumper, this like extra attachment on top. That is really tricky when trying to put a mouth on it. In Cars, they got around it. They just omitted the towel rack altogether, but on a different layer, I'm going to try to experiment with putting a towel rack. It really hides the mouth, but let's just see. It just looks really busy down there. If we had more creative leeway, I could make the towel rack the mouth like itself. But I want to be consistent. It's just too much going on. It's like it has a football helmet on. Let's try another one. This time let's spread these bars out further so we can see more of the mouth. Let's make them taller too. And the US had these towel racks, so-called, just to meet US bumper regulations. Our cars were bigger and taller, and the Beetle was a smaller German car, so maybe it'll look better once I color it. Maybe if I curve it a little. To go along with the smile. Yeah, and I chrome that up, that could look good. Cars, Pixar cars, have teeth. Fine, depending on the character, the style of teeth they have changes. Like Lightning McQueen just has like a wall, perfect white wall, but like characters like Mater have like separate teeth. A lot of villains have separate teeth, but for the most part, it's just like pure white walls of teeth. Now, I want to make the windshield just a bit bigger. because these are expressive cartoon characters. Gotta have room for the eyes. And since it's a smaller car, I'll give it bigger eyes, just proportionally. I feel like that would make sense. Gotta make sure there's at least room for one pupil between each pupil. But the Beetle has a smaller windshield, so maybe the people should be closer together. I hate the towel rack. Oh, it's just so distracting. You know what? If Pixar would get rid of it, I probably should too. I'm just not gonna add the towel rack. I think. I'm gonna wait until I color it. Alright. I wanna liquefy this. If you ever want to just learn about cars in a fun, casual, engaging way, I'd check out curbsideclassic.com. See, it has a short wheelbase. Even if it didn't, I would give it one just because it looks cute. Have the wheel sit nice and snug inside. I'm really salty today because I was supposed to go on a ride in the Goodyear blimp, but the ride was canceled last minute because of a hydraulic leak. So they started the engine, we were about to get ready to board and everything. My brother got it through his job and we were so excited about it. It was they already canceled our first ride because of a heat advisory, so we were so hyped for the second one. Gonna turn this guy's wheels just to add some personality. Whenever you see Cars characters posing, their wheels are usually turned. It's got white walls, so I won't color all of it black. Who here can tell me what Volkswagen means in German? I've never taken German, but yeah, notoriously difficult language. Volkswagen means people's car. It was meant to be a pure entry-level car that more or less anyone can afford just to get Germany on wheels. Granted, it was all Adolf Hitler's idea, but Volkswagen has kind of the greatest redemption arc in all of automobile history. So, late 1930s Germany, Hitler's taken over. He wants the new Germany to have cheap, affordable cars. He wants all of them to have cars, and commissions the Beetle. And so this like superpower of hate was able to get this car designed, but they weren't able to get it built. The war got in the way of that, and so post-war, the British Army took over the Volkswagen factory, built the Beetle, which they had the plans and body panels for, and realized this is a greatly designed car. It's very reliable, very oddly shaped, but aerodynamically shaped. Panels easily replaceable, very well built. It was built by Ferdinand Porsche, who is that Porsche, would go on to create Porsche. That's why the Beetle looks kind of similar, as a similar shape to the Porsches of the time. And so the Beetle, thanks to the British Army, not only got Germany on wheels post-war, but it got the rest of Europe on wheels. And how do I want to color this? In the United States, this was a time when import cars were pretty rare, and so the Beetle, they first started selling them here in low numbers in the late 40s. No one liked it. It was just odd. Why not just get a full-size Ford? But by the time the 60s came around, Americans had come around to the idea of compacts, and they started to love cars like the Volkswagen Beetle and the Volkswagen Bus. They were cheap, affordable, reliable, so a lot of young people got them, and because a lot of young people got them, it overnight became an automatic symbol of the post-war hippie movement, because a lot of these young people could only afford these weird, odd-looking cars. Not only that, but it was also kind of like the ultimate FU to the old man, because they weren't getting like their big Mercuries or Pontiacs. They were getting this like odd-looking German car that had barely been updated since the 1930s. And like I said, overnight, went from a symbol of hate to a symbol of love, a universal cry for peace. Beetle became the most iconic and like best-selling car around the world. Everyone loved it, and it was built for decades with minimal changes, which is unprecedented. You could buy a 1974 Beetle, and the fenders, the doors, the hood would all be completely replaceable with like a 52 Beetle, or like a 57 Beetle, or a 65. It was that consistent. I don't know if I like this coloring. But by the time the 70s did come, that's when Beatlemania sort of started to come to an end. We were all used to the Beetle. It had its place. We liked it. But the world was ready for more advanced cars. The Beetle, like other cars, were advancing themselves. The Beetle never did anything to advance itself. There was a time when hatchbacks were taken off. The Beetle never gained a hatchback variant. Its chassis was very versatile. You had every Volkswagen of the 50s through the 70s built on the Beetle platform, the Karmann Ghia, the Bus, the Type 3 Squareback, the Thing. But the Beetle was very old world, and so Volkswagen in the mid-70s introduced a just as revolutionary car, which was the MK1 Golf, or Rabbit, as we got it here in the US, which completely kicked off this trend that we saw well into the 80s of a two-box hatchback. And this was modern, this was reliable, this was cutting edge and brought buyers back to Volkswagen. There's a US model Rabbit, also courtesy of Curbside Classic, with its forefather in the background. The Golf GTI, of course, is the greatest one that had been built. And so 70s come around, Beetle production stops for the European and American markets, but still a huge hit in Latin America, and still very easy to build just because it's cheap and they have the materials. So this Beetle was built in Latin America well into the 90s and 2000s. The very last Beetle to roll off the assembly line was in Mexico, and it was the final edition. This is a 2003 Volkswagen Beetle model, if you can believe it. It was a Mexico exclusive, of course. But these are all over the place in Mexico. Their taxis for a long time were Volkswagen Beetles, despite only being two doors. And so this is the final edition. It was made to resemble the classic Beetles of yore, given white wall tires and chrome accents. And the final one, this is it rolling out of the factory. I love it. They brought out a mariachi band. They had all these Mexican officials, German officials come over. And it currently is in Volkswagen's museum in Germany. I'm not sure where in Germany. Was it Osnabrück? Not sure. But there were, of course, like successors to the Beetles. You had the new Beetle, and you had this Beetle model, which didn't last as long. It was killed off maybe 5 or 6 years ago, just because this like compact two-door style car had its place in its time, but is not very popular anymore. So that's the Volkswagen Beetle. That's how a symbol of ultimate hate became beloved by everyone. I just rambled on about Volkswagen and the Beetle's legacy and redemption arc, and I haven't read the chat at all. I'm seeing some familiar faces. But yeah, it was my first time streaming in ages. I didn't expect to draw tonight, but I thought I'd just check in on you. I thought, I'd show my face, because it's been a long time. I've been super busy with work. Just finished week number 8 at the new job, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. So for the first time in a while, I'm drawing for fun. If anyone wants to see what I do for my job, if anyone wants to see the show that I'm on, just go to YouTube, go to Disney Channel's YouTube channel, and just pop on Chibi Tiny Tales. I'm getting an ad, but I'm a production associate on Chibi Tiny Tales. We also work with Broken Karaoke. They air these as like bumpers. They put them on YouTube. Theme song Takeover. Among others. I can't talk much about my job. I don't want the mouse getting on me, but
It's everything I wanted. I'm very happy right now with my job. Yeah, 57 Beetle of all model years. The most common ones are in the US at least, would be 60s and 70s. Because in the 50s, Beetle was still relatively rare, like most imports in the US. I don't know how you can tell this is a 57 in particular. You'd have to ask Jason Chorchinsky about that. This rider, formerly Jalopnik, currently on the Autopian, specializes in the Volkswagen Beetle and all the obscure little details like each turn signal, taillight, bumper that was given to each. He could identify a Beetle just by looking at it. What model year it's for, what market it's for. Thanks. The busyness has meant I have not had any time to draw, and it's making me second guess myself if I want to be an artist in this industry. It's kind of unstable and unpredictable. I don't know if you saw what happened to Netflix animation recently, but I've been working in production, so I haven't been drawing anything. I've just been working with our line producer and production supervisors to make sure everything's going all right. And I like it. I enjoy production. I might end up doing production and drawing on the side. Your dad had a bus. I love the bus. That was a Volkswagen second model built on the Beetle chassis. Do you know if it was a T1 bus or a T2? The T1 had the big V in the front, had the two-tone. The T2 was the facelift. This one here, more conservatively styled, but still pretty neat. I found a subreddit the other day called "What Is This Car?" and I just go on it every morning as like a brain teaser, just to like get me up. That's like my equivalent of a crossword puzzle. In fact, I haven't checked it today. What car is this, or what is this car? Yeah, what is this car? Hey guys, I saw this car earlier today and I wasn't sure what it was. I tried to get a bunch of pictures of it to help with identification. Thanks. It's a Ferrari, late model Ferrari. I am not familiar with model names of supercars or Ferraris, but it's the successor to the FF. I completely forget the name of it. Let's figure it out. Ferrari F12. Should have known that. What could this beauty be? Alright, so we have a very American car. Pre-war, it's from the 1930s. It's a coupe. Let's find out. It could be any American luxury brand. First generation Packard 120. Wouldn't have guessed that. Police is seeking more info about this car. This car drove a van off the road, 2 people severely injured. Jesus. See, that's what I love about this subreddit, because it could potentially lead to justice being served. I don't think this is in the United States, because this truck has a flat nose. I think this could very well be Europe. Okay, I don't know. of no use. There's already 21 comments. What is this car? It's an atrocity. It's I'm guessing it started life as a 90s Mercedes sedan, but someone tried to turn it into a Bugatti type thing. My friend found this at a dealership, and I suspect it's just a modern car made to look like a Mercury. It's made to look like a Ford, which was the sister car to the Mercury of the same era. And yes, 100%. That's awful. What did this car used to be? This was a Ford LTD, I believe. It's definitely an American full-size sedan from the late 70s. Yeah, Ford LTD. Got it. I saw this at an event I was at. What is it? It's a Chevy Camaro from the early to mid 70s. Saw this in North America. That's rare. That's an Aussie car. It's probably a kit car. Anyways, it's either a Holden. What's the model name? The Holden Commodore. It's either a Holden Commodore Ute, which was an iconic Australian sports car, or it's a Pontiac G8 converted to look like a Holden Commodore Ute. They were the exact same car. Australia got the Holden, we got the Pontiac. Can't make out the writing, let me know. Yeah, it's a Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Those things are beautiful. They're a pain in the ass to drive and own, but what is this car? I've never seen it before. That is a Fisker Karma. That was like another electric startup that was trying to like rival Tesla. Never went anywhere, lost its footing, but you still see them around, and they're very striking, to say the least. Also, this is a hybrid, not quite fully electric yet. What is this sort of lead sled looking build I found at a car show? It had no badges. I don't know. Some American thing, some American sedan. It's got a 56 Oldsmobile. Yeah, that's anachronistic. Update, thanks Vaughn. I don't care. It's beautiful. What is it? I think it's a Cadillac. It's an early 50s Cadillac. Chevy. Which are very similar, shared a lot. Shared a chassis, shared a platform, shared parts. What is this car? That is a Volkswagen Type 3 Squareback, which shared a chassis with the Beetle. Thought this may be a Holden from far away, but can't tell. I don't think it's a Holden. It's too new to have been imported. It's definitely just a kit car. Are those Mexican plates? I can't tell. No way, that's an actual Shelby, is it? Well, it's either an actual Shelby Cobra 427 or a reproduction replica. It's a nice Aston Martin on top too. What is this beauty? Awful. Is this a regular Lancer or an actual Evo 3? It has its body kit, but it's lacking its wheels and its splitter. Most likely just a kit. No comments yet. But this whole thing feels like a kit car. Randomly stumbled upon a V8 meet in Turkey of all places. It's not random. Eastern Europe loves American cars. Wondering what this black one is. That's a Camaro. They're both Camaros. This from the late 60s, this from the mid 70s, mid to late 70s. Saw this at the car wash, I have no idea what it is. That's a Toyota MR2 from the 80s. Looks like Blade Runner. I love it. Any idea what this is? Yeah, it's a Lotus 7. Wait, no, it's a Caterham. Or is it a Lotus 7? Yeah, it's a Lotus 7. Okay, I'm going to do a few more of these so I can go back to drawing. Blue one. It's an American car from the 50s. Looks like one of those fringe cars, like wasn't a mainstream brand. It could be a DeSoto. It could be a Packard. Yeah, DeSoto. 55 DeSoto. Because it doesn't look like Ford, Chrysler, or GM. It's a McLaren P1. This next one will be my last one. Anyone know the model? Yeah, that's a Genesis. It's a Hyundai Kia's luxury brand. I love Genesis. The model is, I think, a GV80. Back to drawing. I don't like the shadow. I'm gonna try another one of these brushes. I love this brush pack I got with the textures. I use it all the time. I gotta get back on my Oni Plays Animateds. I started one, I streamed myself doing it like over a month ago, and I just haven't touched it since. I've been so busy. Loading. A lot of cars sharing a name with game consoles, huh? Well, I was looking for an excuse to go to bed anyways. I've got work tomorrow. I gotta work for the mouse. Oh, there we go. But I'm going to bed. Or I'm just gonna goof off and then fall asleep at some point. But that's the stream for tonight. Put your goodbyes in the chat so I can see them. This is our beetle friend. Oh, everyone's saying goodbye now. Good night. Sleep tight. Good night, my kinders.